Annyeonghaseyo world! I go by the name of Lady Luna. This is the pilot episode. Well, I can't really call it episode because it's not a video. I don't want to call it a podcast because it's not in iTunes. So, I don't know. If you guys can come up with something better, but for now I'm going to call it page 1. I plan to talk about a lot of things. Well, not a lot of things. It's not like I have anything planned, but just random things. There you go, random things. I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I am Filipino. Oh, I was born in the Philippines, but now I currently reside in the States. I might as well tell you guys my age, just so you don't think I'm like some old lady with a young voice. Currently, as of this moment, I am 20 years old. Okay, so first off, well, right now I'm so into K-pop, which is Korean music, Korean artists, and the sort. I'm Filipino, so obviously I know of 21 because of Dara Park, the former Philippine celebrity. So that's how I got into them, actually. I was like a huge fan of hers. And then she disappeared from Philippine entertainment. And I don't know, I guess one day I just had an urge to look her up. And all of a sudden, Lollipop came up. I'm like, whoa! What? She group her sing? She doesn't even know how to sing. So I looked it up and I was like blown away. I couldn't even believe that was her. It was wow. And yeah, I saw the other members and they looked very intriguing, although I could not tell them apart. All I knew was it was Dara and 3 Korean girls. And then I found out that she was in a video with Top. So I looked it up, and according to the description, apparently it's Top is a Korean heartthrob. I go, okay, let's watch this. And I watched it, and I go, that's a Korean heartthrob? Because when I was watching it, the first, when he's in the motorcycle, I thought, wow, okay, cute, hot. And then the part where it's him and Dara, and he had, his hair slicked back with glasses, and I honestly thought that was a woman. I'm like, no way, is she hugging a girl? And then I found out it was just Top. So I go, really? This is a Korean heartthrob? Because I thought it was 2 different guys. One from the beginning and one that's for Dara. Yeah, so that was my first introduction to Big Bang was through Top. So after I watched Lollipop, I saw him again with the glasses and go, oh, this is the dude with the glasses. Oh, he actually looks good. After that, I researched Big Bang, and well, I thought, well, okay, since 21 has a leader, I wonder who's the leader of Big Bang. So I was hoping it was Top, just because, he was the first person that I saw with Dara. So I thought, okay, he's got to be the leader. He's got to be the leader. I hope he's the leader. Of course, whoever is your favorite, you want them to end up with the leader, or at least the hottest guy in the group. And I just thought Top was the leader. And I found out GD was the leader. Okay, I was like, who's GD? Who's G-Dragon? So I looked it up. Okay, where's this? Which one of the dudes in Lollipop is GD? And I found out it's the dude with the pink overalls. I go, no way, really? Really? So, obviously my first impression of GD was a little, who is this dude with a wig? Yeah, it wasn't that good. But the first time I saw Tang, I actually thought he looked good, but because he was short, it sort of went past me. I didn't really pay attention to his looks. Then when I saw Daesung, I thought, okay, he's gotta be the main vocal. Because his voice in Lollipop was just, whoa, like that. I go, okay, he's a good singer. And I thought Tang was like the main dancer, and obviously I figured out Top was the rapper. Yeah, so that's my first impression of Big Bang. Then when I Wikipedia'd them up, I found out that, oh, okay, so they're like a big group in Korea. And when I saw their pictures, like, oh man, normally, I don't want to obsess about people who aren't good looking. Because, if you're going to devote time, you might as well devote time to people who look good. So when I saw their pictures, I thought, Top looks good. But then after that, like, I have this thing, once I get into something, I hardcore search them up. YouTube, Wikipedia, mostly YouTube. So I just, like, YouTubed everything Big Bang. And after a couple of days of watching their variety shows, I fell in love with them. And I got to know not days, weeks even. I got to know every single personality, and I started liking them for their talents, not for their looks. And then that's when I realized, okay, that's why they're big in Korea, because they were just very entertaining to watch. Very entertaining. So obviously my first member that I liked was Top, just because of looks. Oh, in Lollipop, when he took off his glasses, I was like, oh, beautiful, just beautiful. Anyway, so Top was first, and then my second one was GD, just because when I figured out he was the leader, that I was more interested in him. This is before, I found out that he wrote songs, composed songs, and then I liked Daesung because of his voice. And then when I saw pictures of Taeyang, because he has a hat on, and he has usually a jacket on, so I never caught on with the whole hot body thing until I watched the Prayer music video and the Only Look at Me music video. I thought, okay, you're my favorite now for the rest of my life. So I was like, okay, what about Sungi? What's his role? What's his role in the whole shebangs? So at first I didn't really like him just because he didn't really stand out. He didn't really stand out for me. And then I started watching variety shows, and I started to see that he was like the cutest thing ever. Just the stuff that comes out of his mouth, and the connection between GD and him. It's really funny and entertaining to watch. Sometimes I think, okay, GD, come on, slow down a bit. He's a human being too with feelings. But then, it's just funny. I'd laugh and feel sorry, but then I'd laugh. I know he loves little dude. He loves his, how do you say it, magne? And yeah, so that's my first impression of Big Bang. It's my first impression of 21. I think I'm going a little over already in my, I don't know what to call it, in my page 1. That sounds weird. For my next page, I'll talk about my first impressions of 21. I figured at the end of every quote-unquote page, I'll always say tongue twisters. Okay, I found a nice tongue twister. So yeah, I'm gonna be ending my videos with a tongue twister. First, let me ask the question. Okay, what were your first impressions of Big Bang? First question: 3 words that describes your first impression of each member. I'll put mine at the sidebar. And second question is, who was your first favorite member before you got to know all of them? Just give me your 2 cents in the bottom, and then I'll end this page with a tongue twister. Betty Botter had some butter, but she said this bitter's butter. Ugh. But she said this butter's bitter. If I bake this bitter butter, it would make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, that would make my batter better. So she bought a bit of butter better than her bitter butter, and she baked it in her batter, and the batter was not bitter. So 'twas better Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. So earlier I said hello in Korean, and now goodbye. Annyeong! Love, Lady Luna!